Hello, my name is John Heyman. My wife Heather and I have our youngest son Zach, who's an 8th grader at Gracepoint this year. And I've actually volunteered, believe it or not, to be the parent representative for our 2017 Georgia Goals Scholarship Program. And a lot of people really don't understand what the scholarship program is or how it works. So in this quick little video, we're going to try to help answer some of those questions and see if we can get as much participation as we can in this really wonderful program. So let me spend a few minutes explaining to you what Georgia Goal is. So Georgia Goal was set up back in 2008 to allow kids that are in public school to have an opportunity to go to a certified and registered private school. And the way the program works from a simplicity standpoint is like this. This is your paycheck. Excuse my drawing and writing, it's not very good. Hopefully you can read it. So out of your paycheck, there's 3 things for sure that come out of each one of your paychecks. Federal withholding taxes, FICA tax, and Georgia withholding tax. This is what we're talking about. This is what Georgia Goal is all about. It has nothing to do with your federal withholding tax or your FICA tax. So here's how the program works. You have to pay so much Georgia withholding tax of every check. That goes into a big pot. Georgia income tax. So this money automatically comes here. What the state of Georgia set up back in 2008 was, hey, we're going to allow a portion of this tax to go into scholarships. I think I spelled that wrong, sorry. So it goes into scholarships. So that's all from a simple standpoint. What we're talking about here for the Georgia Goal, it allows us as a taxpayer to take some of our money that's going into this pot and redirect it at no cost to us into a scholarship for kids that otherwise would not be able to attend private school. Okay, so we were talking about how the Georgia Goal program works. So as we said, out of your check, your Georgia withholding tax automatically goes into the Georgia Income Tax Department. So you have to legally pay that tax each year. We all pay different rates and levels, but everybody pays into the tax department. And so the program simply says, hey, you, me, anybody who's a Georgia taxpayer can take up to $2,500 a year if you're married filing jointly and redirect it over to the Georgia Goal Scholarship Program. So that's why it's zero cost to you. It doesn't cost you anything to do this. All it takes is you to fill out this one single sheet of paper, which we'll talk a little bit later. It takes less than 5 minutes of your time. You send that in Georgia Goal, and they redirect money you're already supposed to pay into a program that can help public school children that don't have the opportunity to go to a private school. In this case, a private school like Gracepoint that specializes in helping children with dyslexia. So how does it work? Or more importantly, why should you do this? And I think the better question is, why would you not do it? And the reason I say that is because how many times in your lifetime, in my lifetime, do we have a chance to make a significant impact on a child's life outside of our immediate family and children? And more importantly, how many times can you make a significant impact on a child's life that doesn't cost you anything, it only takes less than 5 minutes of your time? And so to me, this is a no-brainer. But I want you to be comfortable with it. That's why we're doing this video, to give you an opportunity to be able to understand how this program works. So here's how this works. We're going to use an example, and I have this in the booklets. If you already have one emailed, so you can follow along in the booklet. But let's just say you pay $4,800 a year in Georgia income tax. So it's going into this bucket right now. And let's just say you get paid twice a month, so 24 paychecks a year. So each of those paychecks, $200 gets pulled out of each paycheck. So collectively, over the course of a year, from January 1st to December 31st, you would pay $4,800 in Georgia income tax. So let's pretend we get to the end of the year. This is once again for 2017. Everything we're talking about now is 2017. All of this is your tax return based as of December 31st, 2017. So let's say you would have owed $4,800, as in our example. If you didn't participate in Georgia Goal at all, you just did your normal taxes, this is what it would look like. If you fill them out, if your accountant fills them out, amount you paid would have been $4,800. Amount due is 0. You calculated your taxes perfectly. You paid in exactly what you owed, and so you owed 0. Now let's fast forward and say you chose to participate in Georgia Gold for 2017. The way this works is, I mentioned earlier, if you're married filing jointly, you can contribute up to a max of $2,500. The reality is though, this fund that they set up gets discounted down. The state of Georgia, even though this is a wonderful program, they're still putting a cap and a limit on it. The last 2 years that cap's been about $16 million. So they're basically saying, we'll allow approximately $16 million to be moved from our income tax department to this Georgia Gold. And so what they simply do, they take the $16 million, divide it by the number of participants, you, me, whoever signs up for it, and they get a prorated amount. Last year, that prorated amount was $1,334. So even though I signed up to contribute $2,500, I was told I could only contribute $1,334 because that's what it was discounted down to. We expect the same thing for 2017. In fact, we're expecting to be down close to $1,200. So my example I'm about to show you, I'm going to say that you're actually going to be able to contribute $1,200 of the $2,500 max. Okay, so if you use that example, so this example was if you're not doing Georgia Gold at all. So now let's pretend you did Georgia Gold. All right, take that out. So now for 2017 you did Georgia Gold. This is as simple as it gets. So let's say I'll show you. There's two examples of how to do this. I'm gonna start with just a simple one that you just wait till the end of the year to get your tax refund. So this is, you've done Georgia Gold, but let's say, for example, you still paid your $4,800, okay? And then this $1,200, so in March 2017, you have to write a check to Georgia Gold. I'll go this way, sorry about my board. You gotta write a check to Georgia Gold for $1,200. All right, so you're still paying your normal taxes, $200 a paycheck, every check, and then March 2017 you write a check to Georgia Gold for $1,200. This is usually where it's a deal killer for everybody, myself included, if I didn't understand how this process works. I understand nobody wants to write another check for $1,200, or for that matter, for any amount. So usually this is where everybody's ears shut off and eyes closed, and like, thank you, but no thank you. So this is where it's important for you to follow me here. Because yes, you have to write a check for $1,200. There's two ways that you can get this money back. You're getting your money back. Every penny that's $1,200 comes back to you. There's a way you can wait for a year to get it back, or you get it back even before you write the check. So I'm gonna show you both ways. The first way is if we're just gonna wait to get the money back when we do our taxes in our 2017 taxes usually get your returns back in March or April 2018. So if you want to wait and you say, $1,200 is fine, it's not, we can afford that right now. $1,200 at the given interest rate of Bank of America and the other banks right now, this is probably about $8 or $9 for the year. So we're not worried about that. So if that's the way you want to go, when you do your taxes, your 2017 taxes, amount you owed was still $4,800, that doesn't change. The amount you paid, $4,800, because you're paying $200 a check. Now, this is where you actually get an income tax credit. Income tax credit is dollar for dollar. Sorry, my spelling's not always the best. Is a dollar for dollar credit. So what you would show in your taxes, you would actually show a $1,200 credit, just like you did a payment. So what would happen here, so this $1,200 that you paid, you get a dollar for dollar tax credit. So in essence, it comes off the amount that you owe up here. So what would happen is, you would actually have a $1,200 refund that would be mailed to you. So this becomes refund now. So around April 2018, you would receive a check from the Georgia Income Tax Department for $1,200. So once again, now you've gotten all your money back. You had to wait 18 months, or not 18 months, about 12 months to get it back. So if once again, if that doesn't bother you and you're fine waiting, it's a nice little refund you can get. Let me show you the option number 2, how you get this money back. Okay, so here's what I suggested. Here's what I do myself. Instead of waiting until March of 2018 to get your $1,200 back in terms of a refund check, and for me, I always have to file extensions because of some other K1 stuff from other businesses. So I don't get our we don't do our taxes. My 2017 tax won't be done until October of 2018. So if I write my check in March 2017 for $1,200, when I do write my check, I'll have to wait till October 2018 to get my refund back. So what I do, and as opposed to that method, is here. I'm suggesting this $200 a paycheck that you're pulling out starting on January 1st, 2017. You make that, you go to whoever does your payroll for you, large company, small company, you go to whoever your payroll administrator is and say, starting on January 1st, 2017, I want to have this $200 go to zero. I want zero being deducted for Georgia state income tax only. Don't change your federal, don't change FICA, you can't change FICA. Don't change your federal, only state. And then in my example, if you did $200 a paycheck, you would do this for 6 paychecks. So what happens now? So each paycheck, starting on January 1st, 2017, I'm actually putting $200 extra into my bank. Most people are on direct deposit. Whether you're on direct deposit, whether you get a check, it doesn't matter. Whether you get a check or direct deposit, if you say 0 deductions for Georgia income tax, you're putting an extra $200 into your take-home pay. Now, if you do this for 6 checks, which would get you almost exactly through middle of March 2017, you're going to be putting an extra $1,200 into your bank. Now, the important part is that's not extra money for you to go spend. You've got $1,200 extra in your bank because you're going to write a check right around March 15th for $1,200. So now you're back to zero again. But now you've actually gotten your money out before you have to write the check. So to me now it's even more of a no-brainer. Why would you not do this program? All it takes, fill out this form, have your payroll administrator change to 0, in this example 6 checks, but it's easy for you to figure out how many checks. You just simply take whatever your amount is you deduct, or you and your spouse, because you and your spouse can both do this, it's not just individual for you. See whatever this might be $400 a check that you and your spouse deduct between the two of you, so you only do it for 3 checks. However that math works out, you go to 0, which you're totally allowed to do. You can deduct whatever amount you want to for federal and for state taxes. I'm not recommending you go to 0 for federal too, because you're going to end up owing a lot of money at the year and you might have a penalty. But for this amount, for only $1,200, there's no penalty, there's no issue. You can change your deductions to 0 for as long as you want. Now, the key is, please remember to change this back. Once you get your 6 paychecks, 3 paychecks, 5 paychecks, whatever number of paychecks it is, change it back to whatever you were doing as December 31st. Because I don't want to get a phone call, hey John, great advice, I changed my deduction to 0. Wow, we put an extra $5,000 in our bank and went out and bought a new furniture for the house or whatever, and then you also know a check to the state of Georgia for a couple of grand at the end of the year. So I don't want to get that kind of phone call, but change it back, and then you're back to as if nothing ever happened. So how does that look on your tax return? So I'm going to erase some of this. Okay, so how does this look on our tax return? Remember, we talked about there's 2 options when you do Georgia Gold. The first one was wait until you get your tax return back, get your refund for $1,200. This option, the $4,800 amount that you owe is still the same. That hasn't changed. What's changed now is here, instead of you paying $4,800 for the year, you would only pay $3,600 because we took 6 of these paychecks and went to 0. So 6 times 200 is $1,200. So now I would have paid $1,200 less through the whole year in my taxes. So how does this look from an IRS standpoint or the Georgia State Income Tax Department standpoint? So now what ends up happening, you should have owed $4,800. You actually paid $3,600 because we took money out early to be able to pay this check for $1,200 in March 2017. So remember, we're doing this calculation. This is as of 12/31/17, so the end of the year, the last day of the tax period, calendar tax year. But I still get the same income tax credit, $1,200. So now I don't get a refund, but I also owe nothing, amount due. I owe zero. So once again, this doesn't cost you anything. The only cost to this is to fill out this simple piece of paper, ask your payroll, whoever handles your payroll, to change the zero on January 1st, and I'd go ahead and let them know this in December, say starting on January 1st, 2017, make my Georgia income deduction zero, and then you just gotta let the same person know back sometime in March or April, whenever you eclipse $1,200, hey, change my deductions back to whatever it was in December of 2016. It's as simple as that. And so you're not losing any money here. But what have you gained? As we mentioned earlier, this is your opportunity to take a child that's not as fortunate as our children. That's really what it just comes down to. You can get this, our goal, Gracepoint's goal, is to raise $100,000 this year for 2017 to give at least 10 scholarships. So far, we're 25% of the way there, so we still got a lot of way to go. But what I can tell you is everybody that's taking the time to hear us out on this has, for the most part, signed up for this program or is about to sign up for this program. Because I think as long as you'll take the time to understand it, and we get past what does an income tax credit mean? What does zero deductions mean? Oh my goodness, I have to write a check. I understand all those things are negative things to hear, or maybe just don't understand. That's why I volunteered to do this year, in all honesty. So when I heard this last year, I understood what it was. I knew what an income tax credit was, but I know a lot of people don't necessarily understand that because they've never been exposed to any of this. Or once you hear you got to write a check, no thank you, I'm not interested anymore. So the whole goal here was to show you an easy way to accomplish this, to make it where it's zero cost to you, just a little bit of your time. So now the question is, what do you do moving forward? So all you have to do is simply take this form, Georgia Gold form. It's all been emailed to you. I can also send it to you again, or Angie Fowler or Carla Bowling can get this to you. You simply, there's a couple of different options on here. If you're individual, you're not married, you can file up to $1,000. If you're married filing joint, it's $2,500. Married filing separately, $1,250. This also can be used for corporations. If you're a C Corp, you can actually put up to 75% of your Georgia tax liability. If you're an individual owner of an S Corp or LLC, you can put up to $10,000. We've had a couple families do that already, last year as well as this year. So all you have to do is fill this form out. Two important parts on here. Check the appropriate box. Keep in mind the contribution amount. Whatever you write in here, so like for me, I checked the box $2,500 and I wrote $2,500 on this line. That's the lines you get deducted in half. That's where the $1,200 comes up from. So please don't write $1,200 on that line if you truly want to give $1,200. If you write $1,200 on that line, they're going to come back with a letter saying you're only going to be able to contribute $600. The other key thing is a designated school. This is how the money goes into Gracepoint's Georgia Gold account. So their designated school, make sure you write Gracepoint School, Marietta, Georgia. And then obviously the other information is your social security number and name. You can fax it in, you can email it. You can also do this online, very easy. However you want to do it, it's very simple to do. So in summary, the Georgia Gold Scholarship Program, whatever money we contribute here is going to go into this specifically for Gracepoint. Gracepoint will actually send an application in for each student that's applying. So the students applying for the scholarship actually has to go through a pretty rigorous criteria. They have to send in financials, tax returns, and then Georgia Gold receives this information, they approve it, and then they send the money directly to Georgia, back to Gracepoint, that goes towards that person's tuition. And so our goal is to at least get 10 scholarships. I really think we can get more than that. I think if people understand this, watch the video, come to our Javas with John, listen to this, they'll see how simple this program is. So in summary of the steps, so you're going to, hopefully, after you watch this video, fill the form out, send it to Gracepoint. You'll receive a letter thanking you for your contribution, thank you letter from Georgia Goal, saying thank you for your 2017 commitment. And then around January 15th, you will actually receive the letter with the actual amount, which we believe is going to be around $1,200. Last year was $1,334. In this, it tells you, okay, within 60 days, you got to write a check. So, by March 15th, 2017, you send $1,200 check to Georgia Goal. And then you receive your income tax credit form that you give to your accountant or you use yourself. Tax credit form. This is what you'll give, like I said, you'll give this to your accountant for your 2017 tax report, or if you do your own taxes, you will attach it and fill your paperwork out. Now, so in this process, you've started on January 1st, what I suggest you do, you go to 0 deductions for Georgia income tax for 6 checks. So then right around March 15th, you stop 0 deductions. And now you're back even, and you've actually gotten your money before you have to write the check. If you have any questions at all on this, please give me a call. My cell phone is 678-576-4926. You can also email me at jhayman, Hayman, at KES, then the word science.com. Thank you for your time. I hope you understand how easy this program is, and more importantly, how beneficial it is for us to really be able to help kids that aren't as fortunate as ours. Thank you.